Today we're talking about isolating the variable, and we're going to do different examples of how to isolate variables in different equations. You can see in this equation we have a variable right here that's attached to a number and we are adding. So we're trying to figure out what happens when you have an addition question and you have to isolate the variable. So the best thing to do when you have a variable attached to a number and you have some other stuff with it is to get rid of the integers first. So this is an integer right here, and we want to get rid of that to start to isolate our variable. And the best way to do that is the opposite function. So right now it says it's adding 2, so the opposite function would be to subtract 2. So we subtract 2. If we do this to one side, we also have to do it to the other side of the equals sign. This is called balancing your equation. So this disappears because plus 2 minus 2 is 0, so it's gone. So the only thing we're left with on this side of the equals sign is the 5n. The 5n comes down. On the other side, we can do our 12 minus 2, and 12 minus 2 is 10. We've now made it so we just have 5 times the number is 10, and that's pretty easy. Most people would know that that is 2. But if you didn't, if you ended up with a question where this was a fraction or a decimal, and this was a fraction or decimal, and you didn't quite know, we would recognize that if there's nothing in between here, it means multiplication. So this is actually 5 times n. So we can again do the opposite function to get rid of it. So the opposite of timesing by 5 would be to divide by 5. If we divide by 5 on one side, we have to divide by 5 on the other side. Okay? These cancel out because 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 1 times a number is that number. So they just cancel out and they leave us with n. Over here, 10 divided by 5 is 2. And we've solved our addition. We can also do subtraction questions, same thing, start with our integer and do the opposite function. Right now it is minus 2, so we are going to do the opposite function and add 2. This negative 2 plus 2 is 0, so it's gone, it cancels out. We're left with the 3m on the left-hand side of the equals sign. On the right-hand side, 7 plus 2 is 9. We now need 3 times the number is 9. If you didn't know that, then you could say this is 3 times m. The opposite of multiplying by 3 is to divide by 3. So if we're dividing by 3 on one side, we'll divide by 3 on the other. These cancel out and leave us with m, same as in the last question. And 9 divided by 3 is 3. An example of adding and subtracting with a variable that we're trying to isolate.